Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where the movie is over, but we're still here 1 minute at a time. I am Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mullert, and I'm like sitting here enraged because the guy in front of me is standing up talking to his neighbor and eating popcorn while I'm trying to watch the credits.
Dude, the movie's not over. It's part of the movie.
I'm Gerald Christopher St. John Chrysostom. Chrysostom. St. John Chrysostom.
Where'd you Chrysostom?
Yeah. I chose him because it's like verbal monkey bars. I can't say that name. Yeah, it's and he's like a real popular one.
Yeah,
he's one of those huge church fathers or whatever. And what the irony here is, Chrysostom means golden mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird.
And he's the isn't that weird? He's the patron saint of sacred eloquence, which I found funny because it's definitely not secular eloquence. But do you know what I'm talking about, Pete? Right?
Yeah, he's a big guy, and there's even if I recall correctly, there's a mosaic of him in Hagia Sophia in Istanbul.
Yeah, he was an anchorite. Which is word of the day. That's an ascetic, like a hermit, one of those guys who lives in seclusion. And apparently he was a great preacher. Pete, I want to say, do it, Pete, do it. Say his name. Can you say his name?
There's much like Paintrin, there's not an N in it, so I think it's Chrysostom.
Chrysostom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I always call him Chrysostom because it's easier, but I don't know.
You call him St. John Chrysostom?
Yeah, but that's probably
I call him
correct.
Chris Christopherson.
Chris.
I think you guys are both missing it.
I'm sure we are.
Yes.
And I'm sure that Father David is livid right now at our pronunciation attempts.
He was in Heaven's Gate. Come on. Okay. We are here to discuss minute 122 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which begins with the credit for associate producer, and it ends with the credit for assistant special effects supervisor. And we're still watching the sun. In fact, they cut closer to the sun in this minute, don't they?
Yeah.
And not only that, but I just noticed now they cut closer to the sun, and then there's a little like secret cut in there too.
Right. That's weird.
You see them kind of fade to like later on or something.
I wonder if Marcus fell off and they had to like cut.
Get
back on the horse.
Cut, totally. What's interesting is when they exit the temple there, the sun's pretty high in the sky, and by the time they come out of the canyon, it's almost it's crepuscle.
Yeah.
Maybe it took them that long. It took them hours to catch up to Marcus, or to we just pick up with them when the sun is going down because it looks pretty, but they've been trying to write Marcus on his horse for like miles and miles. And it's just taken until the sun has gotten down to that low.
Yeah. I'm curious where they filmed those canyons though, because it looks like it looks like they're in Arizona or New Mexico or something.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was Canyon de Chelly.
That's what I thought too, but I don't.
Yeah,
at the end it doesn't say anything was filmed in Arizona.
No, I looked at. I believe that was in Jordan.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah,
I'm
it looks
not
exactly
positive,
like Canyon
but
de Chelly. That's what I thought too. Yeah.
My favorite name is the script supervisor, Nicky Clapp.
I noticed Nicky Clapp. Yeah, it's a good
I know. Again, it's a complete sentence, and it also sounds like some special form of STD.
I was gonna say, like Nicky Clapp must never hear the end. Don't go out with Nicky Clapp. You know what I'm saying?
I was thinking, I vacationed up north. I got the Nicky Clapp.
Oh. I'm surprised you didn't go with Roy Button.
Yeah,
Roy Button.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear Gerry do his, well, press my button.
It's a clap.
Press my buttons. I went up north and got the sticky clap.
You know who else got the clap? Fred Hole. It's the name Fred Hole. I can't not laugh at the name Fred Hole. I'm sorry, Mr. Hole.
No. Mr. Hole.
Yeah. Don't call me that. Mr. Hole is my father.
now I remember why we started this whole podcast.
Yeah. We end where we begin. I do like we get first assistant director David Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also an assistant director on Gandhi, Superman, Raiders, and Empire.
Oh, wow.
And this is like I was curious, is this like being the greatest AAA baseball player of all time and never getting called up to the majors? Or is like this the kind of job you like? Do you want to be an assistant director? Like, is that you kind of get all the fun, but you don't have the responsibility of being a director? Or...
I was wondering that about Frank Marshall because he's one of the was he assistant director or second unit director?
He
or
was
something?
one of those. Yeah.
And you wonder like, oh, okay, he's like a big Hollywood name. He's been
Yeah.
bumping elbows with all the greats and everything, and I don't think he ever directed a movie. And maybe there's something like, hey, I get to play with the cameras, I get to do stuff that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
Well,
they
David
just don't have
Tomlin
that.
did direct something, and Gerry, you might have seen it. You've been to Hearst Castle, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that really cloying movie they play in the visitor center? Like William
Yeah.
Randolph Hearst built an empire and a cat. Like it's just that really like hagiographic look at Hearst's life and the lovely house that he built. That was directed by first assistant director David Tomlin.
Oh wow,
Really?
That's
Yeah.
funny.
God, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's
I
go
was
to.
there
I
when I
want.
was
Let's
3.
meet at. I was gonna. Were you? Did you go to Hearst Castle?
When I was 3, yeah, and I never hear the end of it. Like,
Really?
apparently, I ruined the trip for everybody. I was like 5 adults couldn't corral this one 3-year-old or something. Sorry, it's a little bored. It's just a big house.
So you were looking for fun when you were 3.
Yeah, it's like a big pool that you're not allowed to touch or do.
That's
do
the
anything
worst.
With. Yeah.
That's the nicest pool on earth, maybe. And you're
Oh,
not
Yeah.
that's
allowed-
amazing.
Although they don't heat it, so they say that.
Oh.
I was talking to somebody that worked there, and she said that the people that work there get to swim in it twice a year, like the first day of the spring and the last day of the summer or something. But
wow.
that it's not heated, so it's always really, really cold.
Oh God.
Well, now there's 2 pools. There's the outdoor one and
there's
the indoor one.
The indoor
yeah.
one's pretty amazing too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, if I recall, there's 4 tours, at least 4 tours,
Mm-hmm.
and every time you go there, I remember I've had to take a different tour, which is cool, but I'm only there once, so I never know. I think I've done 2 of them.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd like to. Isn't one a nighttime tour?
Yeah, I think so, but I haven't done the nighttime one.
Hey, so we have the silhouettes against the sunset. Now, think about that versus the opening shot of Raiders. That's a very, very nice bookend.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah? So Pete, right now, you have to come up with the opening scene of the 4th Indiana Jones movie.
Oh.
What would it be?
Jeez. See,
Yeah,
I think
kinda-
somebody put somebody on the
really-
spot, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to put like a prairie dog and a car where
Yeah.
they're playing like
Yeah, he just
1
made that up
o'clock,
on the
2
spot.
o'clock, 3
Yeah.
o'clock. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with with the 4th movie.
I mean, if you think about it, how would you imagine there's no crystal skull, and you have to come up with the opening scene right after this, because I do think this is a lovely way to end the trilogy.
Yeah,
It should be the 4 of them pulling up on horseback in 1950 whatever. Like, whew, boy, was that a long ride. Why did we even do that? Did we survive that?
Would you could you pick it up like as they get to Alexandretta or wherever the hell they're going?
Well, they filmed if you filmed the 4th one at like within a couple of years, you could.
Yeah, well, of course.
Although
yeah.
Denham
yeah.
Elliott, I think, didn't live much longer.
Oh
after
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That sucks.
Because when you were asked that question, I was trying to think, like, it almost feels like Aliens is the only place you can go after this trilogy if you take it to another place.
Yeah.
And I mean, people say and I think it's detrimental that it's not actually aliens. It's whatever trans-dimensional beings.
The space within spaces or something.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But I wish it had been a little more of the, like the old serial version of Aliens.
Sure.
Like, I think that would have been a little more fun.
Yeah.
You mean with like the old timey Los Alamos, like an Area 51,
yeah.
Like Saucermen
real-
from Mars, yeah.
Yeah, something
yeah,
like,
that type of thing.
Because it starts at Area 51, so it seemed like they could have really played into that a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about if they're gonna go the alien route? Like, would you have been cool with the whole Nazca lines thing?
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't have a problem with a lot of things in Crystal Skull, but I do have a lot of problem with a lot of other things. So, but I it's not. It's,
Wait a minute. That sounds like something I'd say.
yeah.
I don't have a.
I can't remember.
Problem
I
with
think
a
it's
lot of
Crystal
things in
Skull, but
Crystal
everything else
Skull.
blows.
I can't remember if they had the Nazca lines in it.
He said, but I do have a problem with a lot of other things.
Yeah. All right, we're talking about Crystal Skull, Pete.
So I mean, like, maybe I could have gotten down with it if they had done like the whole, the Atacama Desert, Nazca lines, aliens, something.
Didn't they do that?
Maybe if you don't see the aliens or something.
Weren't they in the Atacama Desert though? That's what I can't remember. I don't.
I don't remember
no
anything
knowledge
about
of it.
Crystal
Yeah.
Skull. I'm just saying, if somebody said, "Hey, look, here's the ending of the third one, so now the next one is going to have to do with aliens. There's definitely going to be aliens in there." I'd be like, okay, how's this gonna, like, I have to shoehorn aliens into the fourth Indiana Jones movie?
Mhm.
And that's all I come up. You're like, okay, the Sphinx, and you're like, then we're going back to Egypt and doing that whole thing. Or you're like, maybe the Nazca lines. You're like, archaeological, it's mysterious,
Yeah.
aliens.
My only hesitation with that is it's become such a politically charged thing today, like the ancient aliens thing. And it's kind of like, these cultures of, people all over the world couldn't have had, rather than saying these were amazing creative people and they did these incredible things. It's, they couldn't have done this. It must have been aliens that came in and did it for them. And there are a lot of racial overtones that make me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. They say that about everything. They say that about the pyramids and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even Gene Roddenberry was like, no, human beings did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm a space guy, but no, it's not aliens. It's human beings. They got clever and they figured stuff out.
Yeah. So I if there'd been some kind of connection with aliens, I think that could have been cool. But as long as it's not like, aliens, everything that you thought was amazing about ancient civilization was actually an alien made that.
Right. I know there's like the urge to like connect. Well, I mean, obviously connect some kind of, archaeological spin on whatever with Indiana Jones. But we can talk about this a lot in, the next season.
Yeah.
But,
Sure.
it would have been nice to just kind of break away from that maybe and do something totally different. But we'll see. We'll see.
Are you guys excited about Crystal Skull, or are you guys kind of dreading it?
I am looking forward to seeing it again. I haven't seen it since, I think I've seen it twice. Once in the theater and then once later on at some point. It's been a long, long time, and I don't remember it that well. So I am looking forward to watching it again. Probably watching it with my son. And yeah, I think it'll be a hoot to discuss.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like I people have been saying that online, like wondering, like, is this going to be like a nightmare because it's going to be like a bitch fest the entire time? But I don't think it will be. I think we can, doing it minute by minute, we'll be finding, we'll obviously be frustrated a lot of the time, but we'll also, be thirsty for cool stuff, and we'll find it where we can. Yeah.
I'm also really looking forward to being negative for a change.
There you go. Oh, Pete, it's awesome. You're going to love it.
I just can't wait.
You haven't lived.
Come on in, the water's fine. I'm actually very much looking forward to Crystal Skull. I saw the movie once in the theater and I walked out, and I remember I called Tom and you said something or other like, and we left it at there. It was a very uncomfortable part in our relationship. And then I went and got a piece of pizza, and I think it just like all evaporated, just poof. Yeah. So I really don't remember anything about it, but I'm happy to give it a fair shake, and I'm going to do what I did in Last Crusade. I'm not going to watch the entire movie. I'm going to watch it a minute at a time without remembering or what comes next. And I mean, I'll if something isn't working, I'll talk about that, and if something's great, I'll say it's great.
Yeah.
Also, maybe I'm realizing I'm really hard on lead singers. And, it's because if I get, as a drummer, I get a lot like, oh, hey, man, can you do the Ringo thing? Just on this song, just do a Ringo thing. And you're like, I have no problem doing a Ringo thing. Can you do the John Lennon thing? Because if you can do the John Lennon thing and the Paul McCartney thing, I can easily do the Ringo thing.
Right.
And so I'm a little bit hard on lead singers. I mean, if you have a great lead singer, if you have somebody who can sing really well, like... everything else is really easy. I can play the tambourine, or I can snap my fingers, or I can actually go to the bathroom and come back, and the show's great. So I'm wondering if I'm also really hard on movies. Maybe I expect when you see a great movie like Jaws or The Godfather or something, maybe I'm a little hard on movies. So I'm figuring that out. I think I was, I get the impression that many people think I was a little tough on Last Crusade here, and I'm discovering that about myself. Maybe I'm a little demanding on movies there. So we'll see what happens. I know everybody thinks, not everybody. Crystal Skull is sort of the redheaded stepchild of the bunch.
Right.
I could say that because I, have a lot of redheads in my family. My niece is a redheaded, lovely niece.
Yeah. Way to backpedal, Gerry.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Well, let me ask you, in the spirit of everyone thinking that we're a bunch of grumps, Last Crusade is beloved by a lot of people. I like it, no matter what anybody says. And I took a lot of guff for not loving any of the quote-unquote fun parts of this movie. So let me ask you, as well as myself, what is actually, in a movie full of some hit and miss humor, what is actually the funniest part of the movie for you? Either one of you.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is tough, isn't it?
It might be you're going to, this might cause us to part ways, Tom, but it might be the stamp guy.
Okay.
I laugh every time I see that. I actually laugh every time I see it.
All right. I'm happy for you. God bless.
Now, wait, the funniest part or your favorite part?
No, just the funniest part. Because you especially, you and me, Pete, or which one are you, Gerry? We got really frustrated with a lot of the attempts at humor. They felt kind of flat. They felt kind of shoehorned in. But were there any that just actually worked and you're like, okay, that's how you do it. That is really well done. That's the kind of humor that I want in an Indiana Jones movie, or just a movie. I mean, that actually works and that I'm enjoying.
Well, for me, that's a no-brainer. For me, it was the scene. It was my favorite scene, probably my favorite scene, one of them, and the funniest one, which was, that man's trying to kill. I know, Dad.
Yeah. I think that's it for me too. I think that's what I was going to pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it was a new experience for me. It happens to me all the time. Just like that interpersonal, off the cuff, would actually be what two people might say to each other. It's not shoehorned in. It's just honest and good and funny.
I agree. That is very funny. But I don't want to skip over the no ticket. I really think that's
No
sublimely
ticket is pretty
funny.
good.
And
Yeah.
just the old lady terrified and raising up her ticket. I think I laugh every time I see that.
See, what's fascinating to me is I've really discovered more about you, Pete. And just I mean that you like that a little bit of the old timey slapstick comedy.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
You're more open to a romp than maybe Gerry and I are. You welcome frivolity.
Well, my favorite filmmaker is Buster Keaton, I think. So
See, I always just had you pegged as this film noir.
I love that too, but I don't see any contradiction there. Two sides of the coin, Mr. Porter. Two sides of the bad penny.
No, sure, I get it. I never knew that about you. Knowing you for damn near 30 years.
Wow.
Indiana Jones is teaching us more about ourselves and each other. Beautiful.
Sounds like a book you read in middle school.
Yeah.
That you're changing body.
Yeah. Are you there, Indiana Jones? It's me, Pete.
Speaking of humor, are you there? Whose sense of humor is better, Han or Indy's?
Oh, that's really good.
Like their sense of humor.
Like, do you mean like over the course of all their movies, like which
Yes.
has the most
Yeah,
humor
just-
that lands well?
Do we include Return
Yeah,
of the
just
Jedi?
I shouldn't say we include all of the movies, and I shouldn't say better. Whose humor do you prefer?
Indy, I think, makes fewer attempts at being kind of funny, maybe than Han Solo does.
Yeah.
Han Solo's such like a crank that he's like, and he doesn't want to be there and stuff, so he's kind of like knocking everything all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of his stuff comes from that. So Han Solo's got stuff like, we're fine near, how are you? Like that thing, which I think is hysterical.
Yeah.
And but then Indy's got stuff like son of
Yeah.
a bitch, which is awesome, which is kind of a Han Solo-y kind of thing. I'm gonna say top of my head, even Return of the Jedi notwithstanding, I might say Han Solo, because nothing is funny in Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
except for maybe Fly Casual.
Pete?
I think I might go with Indy just because I feel like Indy fits into the maybe less this movie. I might even agree with you guys on that one, but it seems like the humor that Indy has fits into the context of the movie sometimes a little bit better.
I can see
there's
that.
even a great, in the next movie there's a great part time. Like I think he's got some one-liners that are just hilarious.
I noticed that Indy is a lot more dry than Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like which then I think about it and I go, God, Indiana Jones is a really serious guy.
mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't crack a lot of smiles.
But he does crack a lot of jokes. Like I think he's a little drier than Han Solo.
You
Like
eat
Han
'em.
Solo, you can kind of see. Well, that's true. But Han Solo, you can kind of see mugging for the camera or mugging to his friends after he makes a joke. It's
Yeah.
hard to see Indy doing that.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's Indy. He's aloof.
Yeah.
Yeah, Han Solo is like he presents himself as aloof, like you can't get to know him, but you can.
Uh-huh.
It's like Indiana Jones is a loner who's just doing things mostly on his own, but Han Solo is a loner who's forced to deal with other people. Like they're all stuck on a spaceship with him. He's got to talk to them and put them down and, poo-poo their force business
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
And he's got a bounty on his head, and he needs money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they both misanthropes?
You know what? I would say Han Solo is a lovable one,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and so in a way, not really.
And he ends up
'Cause
being
he's-
less of one than
yeah.
he starts off as.
Yeah, and that's kind of you just Yahoo kid, let's blow this
Yeah.
thing and go home. You're like, nah, he's not a misanthrope.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Indy is like, I don't know. After watching these movies, he's pretty dark and serious, and he's I would classify him as unreachable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially kind of how nobody ever makes it past one movie other than like
Right,
Marcus and Sala.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever stays in his life that long.
In terms of intimacy, I would say it's really you see him most intimate like on the Bantu Wind with Marion.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
that's probably when he's most he let his guard down. But what's really interesting is just I don't even know 48 hours prior he's pulling up into her bar and he's essentially lying to her and using her.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's it's a lot of acreage to cover
Yeah.
in about a day and a half there. But I would say that that's probably his most intimate moment that I've seen him.
Yeah, because even like in the beginning of Temple of Doom with his, where ostensibly sets all of this off with his great friend Wuhan, when he dies,
Yeah.
Indy doesn't show a lot of even concern about that. He just kind of picks right up and he's like, okay,
Yeah.
next.
He's into the great unknown. I go first. And then he's like, uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
enjoy.
Yeah, send me a postcard. Yeah. He's a real heartwarming son of a gun.
Yeah, it's really. I don't think I knew that about Indiana Jones until we've really hashed through these seasons. Yeah, that's one of the biggest surprises for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of postcards,
Hey,
this just in from Professor Christy Porter. Raiders begins with a distant introduction to Indy. You can't see his face, just a silhouette. There's a gunshot and a whip crack, and he moves into the light. This movie begins with an intimate portrait of his childhood, and there's a backstory. Are they equally effective?
No. Simply put, no.
Is it? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't. I think about that whole opening sequence. I'm like, oh my god, that's the same movie we've been doing this whole time. It's like, not only is it super long ago, but it seems like a totally different movie. And I complained about it at the time that it was fun and it works well, but it's ultimately a little bit goofy and not what I'm looking for in an Indiana Jones movie. Whereas the opening of Raiders. Oh, Raiders is perfect. It can do no wrong. But honestly, the beginning of Raiders is damn near perfect and fantastic. And you're like kind of observing this guy for a little while until that gunshot and that whip crack, and then you see who you're dealing with, and that's incredibly effective.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Pete?
Yeah, exact same answer. You can't top that beginning of Raiders, and it's dark and it's gritty and it's atmospheric and it immediately puts you in the movie. And the one we get with Last Crusade is fun, and Last Crusade as a movie is fun, but I mean, as much as I love Last Crusade, I don't feel like it is ever going to stand up to what Raiders did and how Raiders sort of changed the way I look at movies.
Yeah. Gerry?
No. Stamp and stamp. Notarized.
Well, now that we're notarized and stamped, I don't even like the word stamp anymore. It's tainted. I feel like I need to roll my eyes or something. But now that we're all stamped and notarized, everyone, please come back here for minute 123 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Well, bust my Jones! I can't do that voice.
Bust my Fred hole.
Oh, say, is that Fred Hole? Hey, Mr. Hole! Let's all clap for Fred Hole. Let's all make a clap for Fred Hole.
Wait, is that Pete? Is that Pete doing that?
You gotta be kidding me.